Ever get that feeling out on the road, like the landscape is shifting right under your wheels? One minute it's familiar territory, the next, something's different.
Uh-huh. Like unseen changes are impacting your day-to-day.
Exactly. And that's really what we're digging into today. We've got, well, three different stories that might seem separate, but they all connect back to you, the driver.
Okay.
We're looking at a pretty major change in military freight, some serious financial pressures hitting carriers, and, the extra risks that pop up with summer driving.
Right. Three distinct pressures, but they all converge on the person behind the wheel.
Our mission here is to kind of weave these together, pull out what really matters for you. And, like her view from life, as a trucker always says, it's so important to try and see things from all angles.
That's a great perspective to take. Helps make sense of it all.
So let's start with that first one, the military freight situation, this global household goods contract, or GHC. What's the gist of it?
Okay, so think about it like this. Traditionally, the Department of Defense, the DoD, they use a whole network of moving companies for military families. Lots of different players.
Right, the system we're kind of used to.
Yeah. Now, they're basically consolidating all of that household goods moving under one single massive contract given to just one private logistics company.
One for everything.
Wow, it's a huge centralization. Takes a system that was spread out and puts it all under one umbrella, essentially.
Okay, one company. That sounds like it's going to have some major knock-on effects. What are the main worries people are raising?
Well, the American Trucking Associations, the ATA, they're pretty vocal. Their big concern is, well, a lack of clarity. How is this main company going to pick its subcontractors? The actual movers, the drivers.
Right. And how will they get paid?
Exactly. There's this worry it could stifle competition and maybe push out those smaller established carriers, the ones who've, reliably moved military families for years.
So if you're one of those smaller outfits or an independent who relies on that work, suddenly the door might seem closed. Or at least harder to get through.
That's the fear. It taps into that feeling drivers sometimes have,
Yeah.
right? Loads just sort of appearing or disappearing without much explanation.
Yeah.
This could make it feel even more like a black box.
Yeah, I can see that.
And the ATA also brought up, what about service quality down the line? If you reduce the competitive pressure, does the incentive to really excel maybe fade over time? It's a question mark.
Okay, but looking at it from the DoD side, why make such a drastic change? What are they hoping to achieve?
Their stated goal, their main objective, is to improve the moving experience for the military families themselves.
Okay.
They've admitted there have been issues in the past, broken furniture, frustrating delays, things going missing. They believe this more centralized system will bring more consistency, more accountability.
So aiming for smoother moves for the service members. Makes sense. But it sounds like the truckers, the actual movers who've been doing this work, could face a lot of, well, uncertainty.
That's definitely the big unknown for them. If you're not on the list for this one prime contractor, where does that leave you? Potential loss of a significant chunk of work.
And this is where it gets broader, right? You mentioned connecting the dots.
Exactly. The ATA is wondering, okay, if this model works for the DoD, could other government agencies look at it? Think about food distribution contracts or fuel hauling.
So this could be a template?
Potentially. Some are even suggesting you could push things towards a more Uberized model in trucking.
Yeah.
Fewer direct opportunities for independent operators, maybe more reliance on these big platform-style contracts.
That's a sobering thought. Really highlights why paying attention to these big structural shifts is so critical for drivers trying to plan their future.
Absolutely. Being informed is key.
Okay, let's shift gears now to another area causing some anxiety, the financial side of things. We saw CNC Freight Network file for Chapter 11 recently. What does that signal about the current climate?
Yeah, the CNC filing. It's definitely another indicator that things are, well, challenging for a lot of carriers right now. They mentioned ongoing financial challenges and market instability themselves.
And Chapter 11, that's different from Chapter 7, yeah. It's not necessarily game over.
That's right. Chapter 11 is about reorganization. The company gets some breathing room, tries to restructure its debt, streamline operations, and hopefully, come out the other side financially healthier. Chapter 7 is liquidation, selling everything off. Full stop.
So what kind of pressures were likely hitting CNC? Was it specific to them or more industry-wide stuff?
It really seems like a mix of those broader forces we've been seeing. Diesel prices, well, maybe not peak, are still high. Freight volumes, they're just not as consistently strong as they were, say, 2 years back during that boom.
Right, more unpredictable.
Yeah. And getting financing, managing cash flow that's gotten tighter too. So you've got costs up here, demand kind of fluctuating. It's a tough environment.
And this isn't just numbers on a balance sheet for the folks driving, is it? This hits home hard.
Oh, absolutely. You hear about drivers just being blindsided, trucks suddenly parked, people out on a run when the news breaks, wondering what happens next.
And then paychecks, fuel cards.
Those are immediate worries. Delays, uncertainty about getting paid what you're owed. And if you're an owner-operator leased on with them, you're scrambling. You need to find a new carrier, secure loads like yesterday. It's incredibly disruptive.
Creates a huge amount of stress and uncertainty. And it follows other big closures like Yellow, like Convoy.
It does. It paints a picture of real pressure, not just on the big names, but on smaller carriers, some brokers too. Lenders are definitely being more careful. Credit's tighter.
Which really hammers home why drivers, especially owner-ops, need to kind of keep an ear to the ground about the financial health of the companies they partner with, right?
Absolutely. You need to know if that fuel card is solid, if the payments are reliable. It directly impacts your ability to operate. It's about looking beyond just the next dispatch.
A tough but necessary reminder. Okay, let's pivot again. Summer's here, and that always brings talk of the 100 deadliest days.
That's the term, yeah. Memorial Day to Labor Day. Statistically, sadly, a period with a noticeable spike in traffic accidents and fatalities. And agencies like CDOT, the Colorado Department of Transportation, they really ramp up safety campaigns.
And a lot of that focus, understandably, is on the general public, right? Team drivers, vacationers,
Yeah.
more patrols, awareness messages, which is needed, of course.
Definitely important work.
But what about the truckers' perspective during this time? What are the unique challenges they face that maybe don't get as much spotlight in those general campaigns?
That's a really key distinction because, professional drivers, they live safety. Defensive driving isn't just a course they took, it's their daily practice.
It's their job.
Right. And often, when accidents happen involving trucks during summer, a large number involve errors by passenger vehicles. So sometimes that increased enforcement, while well-intentioned, can feel a bit like focusing on minor logbook details or equipment checks for truckers, while maybe missing some riskier behavior from other drivers.
Yeah, the vacation driver who's maybe distracted, unfamiliar with the road, or doesn't quite get how much space a big rig needs.
Exactly. You've got that huge surge in overall traffic volume. More RVs, more people towing boats or trailers, folks perhaps in a more relaxed, maybe less attentive, holiday mindset.
Plus, truckers are still dealing with tight schedules, long hours.
And the mental load of navigating all that extra, often erratic traffic, the summer heat, longer daylight hours, potentially leading to fatigue. It's a unique pressure cooker for them.
So how does the industry, how do truckers respond? Are fleets doing specific things? What about owner-operators?
You see a range of things. A lot of fleets push out safety reminders, maybe do some refresher training focused on, say, work zone safety or dealing with increased traffic. Owner-operators might consciously adjust their routes or schedules, trying to avoid peak congestion times, especially on weekends. Some carriers even offer safety bonuses during the summer months.
Incentives for safe driving.
Yeah. And you also see a lot of informal peer-to-peer coaching online. Drivers sharing tips, giving each other a heads up about tricky spots or conditions. There's a strong sense of shared responsibility.
It sounds like the core message for truckers is stay extra sharp, don't let your guard down, be prepared for the unexpected from other drivers, even more so than usual.
Precisely. Maintain that professional vigilance. Anticipate issues. That's really the key during these riskier summer months.
Okay, so we've covered a lot here. The military contract changes, the economic squeeze on carriers, the summer safety risks. Stepping back, how do all these pieces fit together for the driver listening right now?
Well, when you synthesize it, you see it's not just one thing. It's this combination of forces, structural changes in freight, economic pressures, seasonal hazards, all shaping the reality of being a trucker today. They're interconnected parts of a really complex environment.
And that loops right back to what Hervey talks about, seeing the whole picture, all the angles, understanding these broader trends isn't just interesting. It actually helps you navigate your career better, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It gives you context. It helps you make more informed choices about who you work with, how you manage your business, maybe even where you see your career heading.
Yeah.
It empowers you.
And it also really brings up that whole idea of time management, but maybe in a different way than we usually think about it.
How so?
Well, we always talk about managing time for shippers, for deliveries, HOS, but this conversation highlights managing your own time, your off-duty time, for your benefit, investing in yourself.
Yes. That's a fantastic point. It connects perfectly to what resources like Life as a Trucker and retirefromtrucking.com emphasize.
Yeah.
Use that downtime proactively.
Right. Maybe it's learning a new skill. We even heard mentions of AI potentially impacting logistics down the line. Maybe exploring something tech-related.
Or looking into those online income streams that Retire from Trucking discusses. Building something on the side that gives you more options, more security, regardless of what the freight market is doing.
It's about building resilience, isn't it? Giving yourself more control, more agency in an industry that can feel pretty unpredictable sometimes.
Exactly. It provides a sense of opportunity and pathway, even when things seem uncertain.
And, underneath all this, it just reinforces the immense respect we should have for the work truckers do. It's demanding, it requires constant adaptation. Staying informed and proactive is just part of the job description now, it seems.
It really is. Recognizing that dedication and providing the information needed to navigate these challenges, that's crucial.
So let's kind of wrap this up. Key takeaways. The freight world is definitely changing. Big contract shifts, ongoing economic headwinds impacting carriers, and summer always dials up the safety focus. Understanding how these things connect is vital.
And in an industry that moves as fast as trucking, staying informed, being proactive, that's not just about surviving the current climate. It's really about thriving, about building a secure future, more on your own terms.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. With all these currents swirling, what's one proactive step you can take, maybe even today, to better prepare for the road ahead tomorrow?
A great question to ponder.
And for more insights, tools, and support, definitely check out lifeasatrucker.com and also retirefromtrucking.com. Lots of valuable resources there.